let's talk about the multiversal war of madness to come on planet Earth, and the scripture that says, and the dragon was wroth with the woman, or angry with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, who keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. Let's unpack that. This takes me back to Jonathan Majors' character, He Who Remains, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And it makes me think about the war in Quantumania and how he was seeking to escape this particular microscopic reality, or this quantum reality, where all these beings were fighting for their lives, and they're trying to keep him from escaping because he will destroy basically all of the worlds that are not supposed to exist within the multiverse. The theory of Schrodinger's cat, which is the cat in the box that has the poison and is both alive and dead at the same time. If you never open the box, you'll never know, but it represents the ability for the cat to make a decision on whether to eat the poison or not. And that's pretty much what a multiverse is comprised of. You're talking about various realities or branches of thoughts. A person choosing to do one thing over the other is creating another branch within the timeline. So as you're changing your perception and you're changing the way that you think based on these variants who are giving you certain information, you are making another branch within the multiverse. And that is a threat to the system of people who work for the TVA that are seeking to keep you on the sacred timeline, okay? When you yourself want to do what you want to do, or you want to make your own choices. See, that's why I'm wearing my Supergirl shirts today, because I know that the TVA wants to come and prune me, honey. I am a variant, all right? I am a variant, okay? In our reality, we have a TVA. They do everything in their power to script and make sure nothing goes off script and no one is being a variant and who's talking too much or doing too much to influence certain people, so that they start branching these timelines off or giving people these alternative thoughts, so they're making different decisions and going into parallel realities within their own world. They do not want these different branches or timelines or alternative realities. It's like being able to choose between two decisions is basically you being able to make a decision and have a parallel reality. You can't really trust everything that they script in these particular movies, because they're making the villains to be the heroes and the heroes to be the villains. So you never truly know, exactly how this story is being spent. But if you think about it in the context of the fact that He Who Remains actually was the one who created the TVA in order to have the particular outcome. He was trying to avoid the multiversal war, right? And the war was inevitable. However, he was doing everything in his power to make sure that everything remained aligned. And this is a representation of us being in this particular time loop that we are experiencing in the time machine. And these beings, or these particular beings on Earth, changing us over into linear time in order for them to keep this particular timeline going, it means that they are like the TVA. And anytime there was a variant who arose who had a different chain of thought, they would come and they would prune this particular person, or make sure that they don't change the timeline, or they're not influencing thoughts. And this is exactly how our reality is set up. When you talk about the TVA, you're talking about these groups, okay, that keep everyone in a certain mindset, and they control the timeline of our reality through our perception. The branches represent the branches of thought in each person's mind, and them changing their mind based on their perception. So they would go and they would prune these variants. And if you ever watch this particular series, Loki, where they're talking about the TVA, you will discover that the actual TVA is a representation of these employees that work within the moon machine, which is a time-based kind of structure. I don't know if you remember, there's a character named Obi, or he's representative of Ouroboros, and he actually sits within this moon-shaped desk where he tinkers with the machine that is within the moon, and he's basically trying to make sure that it mechanically is working. And everyone within the TVA gets into this space where they're trying to save this machine, or what they call the temporal loom, in order to keep this particular timeline going, or the sacred timeline going. They needed the face scan of He Who Remains in order to tap into the temporal loom so they can try to fix it. So who is He Who Remains? He Who Remains knows everything. He has the entire script of everything. Every time he incarnates into a body, which is reincarnation, baby, he is the smartest of them all. He is a representative of one of the Christ. Ding, ding, ding. And they need him in order to try to fix the temporal loom. However, that is not his goal. He Who Remains offers to give the TVA over to Loki and Sylvie. We all know how the story ends in Loki. He sacrifices himself. He goes up and he sits to become a part, or integrates himself into the temporal loom, and basically infuses this green energy. And as we discussed on this channel, the green energy represents the heart chakra, where the throne of God sits, as referenced in Revelations 4. So they're placing this Loki, or the masculine energy, into this space to be the connection that keeps this entire timeline going. And Sylvie and Loki are representative of the two witnesses, or the twins of God, or these two twin flames that basically are there to save the timeline. And I don't know if you remember, but at a point they were actually falling in love, okay, because the two witnesses are two love beings. He who remains always knows exactly how everything is going to end. Why? He who remains is an actual representation of the divine masculine. He's a representation of God the Father himself, being the actual scriptwriter. God is the purveyor of all that exists on planet Earth and knows the script from beginning to end. He is the Alpha and Omega. Him and the divine feminine, which is his wife, or the counterpart, which is the feminine energy, are both representative of the Godhead. So he who remains knows everything that's going to happen, is sitting and doing the hard work of making sure that everything plays out. We should have been cheering for he who remains against the microscopic beings in quantum mania, okay?
How many times have you been at this?
How did you know?
I know about the slipping. And who do you think paved that road? Any guesses? Survey says?
He who remains.
Bingo. Here you were, slipping through time, thinking you were sticking it to the system, gonna beat the man, and then whoop, here he is. How is Victor timely?
Of course you know about him.
Wait, don't tell me. You're having some problems with the temporal loom.
Scaling problem.
Scaling problem. That's what he told you. Victor told you the scaling problem. Wow. No, there's no problem.
It destroyed the TVA.
The temporal loom is a failsafe. When the loom is overloaded with branches, it deletes the ones that aren't supposed to be there. Everything except the sacred timeline.
They're beginning to touch the multiverse. And if we let them, they will take everything we've built. So let's stop wasting time. We're late.
How many did you call?
All of us.